Appreciate calls? I do. You make it, I take it. I'm Chris Cuomo at the Chris Cuomo Project. Here are your viewer calls with me and producer extraordinaire, Gregory Ott. Let's get after it.
Yes, I believe that someone needs to talk about the standard for the leader of this country. I think the standard for the leader of this country should be higher rather than lower. And because we're trying to select a person with integrity, person with high ethical values, and that needs to be more than just promising, doing things for the people. So I believe Mr. Trump needs to be accountable with a higher standard because he is trying to become the leader of this country, which requires an integrity that is above everybody else. This is what people in other countries should do. The Native Americans set the example. If somebody wanted to be a chief, they needed to prove in some ways that were beyond what the regular braves would act. So I think Trump is asking for the standards to be lowered for him, and I think that is not part of what this country should be and aspire to. Thank you very much.
I agree, but you got to deal with the ball where it lies, as they say in golf. We have been in a slow decline, a reductive process because of this zero-sum binary system of our party structure, where it's just a battle to the bottom. If it's a race between you and me, what's easier, for me to run faster or to make you trip and fall? That's what our politics has become. So instead of being better, it's about which one is worse. And the Republicans used to be the party of character counts. Now it's like you can't count on anybody's character. Oh, that's a good one. They used to be the party of character counts. Now it's like you can't count on anybody's character because all it's about is convenience and advantage and grievance. So I agree with you, but at this point, that's like wishful thinking for where we are. And a lot of the people who are better don't want to get in the process because if it's all about proving who's worse, it's only a matter of time before they destroy you. Why would you want to get involved with that? So we're in a tough place. And the more people get to where you are, the better, because they'll start having different expectations than where we are now, which is, motivated minorities who just want to make sure that the other side is worse than they.
Hello, sir. My name is Rich. I have been watching you and your appearances on the Patrick Bet David podcast on YouTube and wanted to say that you have changed my view on you. When you were on CNN, I really found the way you presented things unappealing to me as a conservative, as an independent, but a conservative. And I think you've changed. You have grown, and I find you, in your opinion and your thought process, much more appealing, and I appreciate that. Keep up the good work. Your voice is needed in this country and your process. So thank you.
Well, look, I appreciate the appreciation. I do think that I suffer from people's feelings about CNN while I was there, and that you kind of look at it through the lens of rejection. I don't believe that I'm any different, but I do have different inclinations. 15, 16, 17, 18, there was a need for a muscular response to Trump. I know conservatives took it personally, but you got to know Trump is not a conservative, right? And he lied so much. He was so destructive about institutions and the media and the level of decency in our dialogue that it required pushback and frankly, an attack, in my opinion. Now we're so divided because it didn't work, right? He succeeded in dividing his party and taking ownership of it, that now we need to find ways to bridge this and get back to common sense. It's not middle of the road. It's not centrist. It's none of that. It's nothing weak or indefinite like that. It's about pragmatism. It's about being reasonable. It's about conversation, not constant debate about gotchas and who's wrong and who's right. What's right? Not just who's wrong, but what is right and how do we make it happen? That's where I want to get us to. I want to get back to conversation, which is about accommodation of different ideas, as opposed to just separating yourselves into us and them. So thank you very much. I appreciate the generous assessment, and I promise you I will keep getting after it.
Hi, Chris. This is Sarah. I'm just wondering, why don't you do Cuomo on the couch anymore? It was really fun. I really enjoyed it. I wish you did it more. Thanks.
Greg made me stop.
No.
He said it doesn't work that well, and it wasn't getting as good ratings, so I stopped doing it. And that's why I stopped the walk and talks also, but I am going to restart the walk and talks, and you will find them on the Substack. I think that the reason Greg is largely right is not just data, but it's also appetite. You know, people aren't as into philosophy as I am. They're not into deep thinking as much as I am. And I'm not saying it makes it better or worse. It's not a judgment. It's just an observation. And people want to hear about what's happening right now and my take on it as opposed to their take and what the factors are for it and anything I know that can increase their understanding. I think that's a more immediate appetite than getting into the deeper questions of what motivates our existence. To me, I think that you got to start there to understand the right ways of seeing and dealing with what is happening in the now and in our politics. But not everybody agrees. Support for the Chris Cuomo Project comes from Ground News. Now, look, I know I'm in the media. I know I work for News Nation and I have my own podcast, but I don't believe in closing out other brands that can be helpful to you. And one of the big problems, especially when it comes to social media, is how do you understand what is BS, what is misinformation, what is disinformation? What do you do about it? Ground News. I don't work for them, but I believe in what they're trying to do. Website, app, helps you make sense of the news by doing what? They are an aggregator and a curator, okay? They gather related articles from around the world in one place so you can compare coverage. They help you do the work to be a critical thinker. You can get context about the source of your information. Is this news outlet political? Are they partisan? Are they reliable? So, go to groundnews.com/Chris and try it out. And by the way, if you put Chris in there, you're going to get a 40% discount. Ground News Vantage Plan. That's what you're looking for. That's what you'll get 40% off of. And that will unlock access to all of the features. I think that this is a helpful tool, all right? They're doing important work that is really fundamental to being a critical thinker and an independent in our partisan political space. That's groundnews.com/Chris. Support for the Chris Cuomo Project comes from GetMaineLobster.com. Isn't that cool? If you're going to eat lobster, why would you want to get it anywhere else? Maine is the place. And if you want lobster from Maine, you got to get MaineLobster.com. Why? It's the #1 lobster delivery service in the USA. It's not me saying it, it's good housekeeping. They got 16,000 five-star ratings. I mean, what else do you need? Whether you're going to throw a party or it's for you or a special someone, lobster always is the winner. I mean, come on, it's top shelf any day. Use the promo code CCP at checkout and you're going to get 15% off all orders store-wide. That's right, 15% off all orders store-wide. Just use the promo code CCP at getmainelobster.com. So don't miss out. This is a great offer, okay? Make your next meal an extraordinary occasion with Get Maine Lobster. And again, at getmainelobster.com, you use the promo code CCP and you just dive into deliciousness and you get 15% off and free shipping. MAINE, that's Maine, the state, lobster.com. And my code, CCP. Support for the Chris Cuomo Project comes from Cozy Earth. Cozy Earth, I love it. Why? It helps make your house a home. Isn't that one of the things that we really want once we get home after all the crazy is to get cozy? I love the sheets, especially the bamboo sheet set, okay? 100% premium viscose bamboo, breathable, uniquely soft. It's softer with every wash and they don't crush the environment. I love the sleepwear also. Got to be honest. It's loose where you need it to be, and it's warm, and it's easy, and it washes well. I dig it. But the sheets are one of one. And that they're using bamboo is huge for me because I care. I care about what my money is doing to help with the problems that face all of us. So, your peace of mind matters. Make a wise choice this election season, or at least one of them. Embrace the comfort of Cozy Earth and feel the difference. Go to cozyearth.com/Chris. Use the code Chris, and you'll get an exclusive discount of up to 40% off. I mean, you can't lose. If you get a post-purchase survey, say you heard about Cozy Earth from the Chris Cuomo Project, please. Support for the Chris Cuomo Project comes from AG1. Look, I use it. I think you should use AG1. Why? It has everything I need, and I'm one and done. One scoop, glass of warm water. Doesn't have to be. It can be cold, it can be lukewarm, it can be juice, whatever you want to put it in. I get my prebiotics, my probiotics, my gut-supporting ingredients. That helps keep me regular, keep me healthy. How do we know? Science. Recent research study, AG1 was actually shown to double the amount of healthy bacteria in the gut. And that matters. The bacteria work together to break down food and alleviate bloating, irregularity. Okay, digestive comfort, huge, especially long term. Now, since drinking it, I believe things have gotten better for me. Try AG1. Get a free bottle of vitamin D3K2 and 5 free AG1 travel packs with your first purchase. Just go to ag1.com/CCP. That's a $48 value. And you get it for free if you just go to drinkag1.com/CCP. Check it out.
So we've got a lot of YouTube comments. I'm going to fire those off right now. This is from your interview with Dave Rubin. Lisa Seifert, 9118 writes, how can he say that about Megyn? He was number one and got fired. Same with Tucker. So obviously it's not only about size of the audience and or ratings. You were going on about Megyn Kelly and the circumstances around her departure.
Well, I mean, the circumstances around her departure are known, okay? What do we know? She went to NBC for a big ticket, wanted to be the next, Barbara Walters, Diane Sawyer, failed, okay? Then they tried her in daytime, failed. And her staff reportedly didn't like her. And she said stupid shit that, again, works with the fringe. What's wrong with, Jesus or Santa being white? What's wrong with wearing blackface if you just mean it like as a joke? That works fine with the right fringe. It's fine for Fox or the old Fox, but not for the majority. And that's who's watching network television. This is my point. What works on social media for the fringe is not necessarily what works with the majority. So Megyn Kelly can have millions of people following her, devoted to her on social media, make a fortune, but she doesn't cut it with the majority. And that's the story at NBC. That's the moral of the story. I like her, I dislike her. Irrelevant, indifferent. She takes a bite out of me all the time, but that's just because she's trying to impress her crowd. I guarantee you, if I met that lady and her husband, they'd be totally civil, not the way she is when she's doing the job. What does that tell you? I'm the same way. Ask anyone who's ever met me in person. There is no hype. There is no difference between who I am when I'm doing the job and who I am when I'm not. The only time I'm different is if I'm around my kids and you don't know how to behave, you're going to get what you ask for, even if it costs me money, even if it costs me trouble. I don't have the ability to appeal to my better angels when you fuck with my kids. Other than that, this is me. Not the case with her, not the case with a lot of people.
This is from your interview with Dr. Robert Redfield. Susan R. Johnson, 5134, writes, why is the American Academy of Pediatrics recommending the COVID-19 vaccine in all children starting at 6 months right now?
Because that's their reckoning and understanding of the need for prophylaxis. And it's, probably over-aggressive in your mind, right? And I don't know what their standard is of why they're saying that. I do think there should be a review of these things, not because that COVID is poison and that if you give it to kids, it's going to do more harm than good, but that they may not need it. And therefore, why should they have it? And then you have to make the case that the benefit outrisks any potential harm. And they may say they've already done that, and that's the basis of their recommendation. And certainly we know that they require other vaccines on that basis to kids. So why not this one? Now, the answer to why not this one is because some of you, right, because it's not the many, it's the some, it's the few, not the many, believe that the vaccine is dangerous. And we don't know that. Well, then shouldn't we know it before we give it? Well, they say they do know, and that we don't know that it's a danger, that it's basically as safe as any vaccine. Well, is that true? I think there needs to be a lot more explanation of that. I agree with you on the confusion.
From that same episode, PB4Hugo19 writes, the vaccine saved lives. Can't argue with the numbers.
Yeah, it's true. Hospitalizations, death, until you get into the variants. Once you got into the variants, summer 21 into 22, now, a little bit of a defense for your boy, I wasn't on TV in 2022. So I don't know why I get so much blame for what's going on here. But in 2022, with the variants, the vaccine's efficacy went down. And yet the mandate stayed in place for a long time. That was probably overreach, and it should be reviewed and thought about, because now whatever potential issues there could be with the vaccine were not as easily outweighed by the benefits because it wasn't giving you the same level of protection. So I think it needs a review. We need a review. We need a review. We need a review. In the absence of review, you have people who are just constantly capitalizing on the advantage of one aspect or one understanding of a particular angle on vaccines. And that's where you get your Dave Smiths and your other people who want you to be angry and to believe that the vaccine is poison and it was forced on you and everybody who did it should go to hell.
From your same episode with Robert Redfield, Angela St. Michael writes, stop deleting our comments. This level of censorship is an outrage. And then in a comment she wrote afterwards, and you deleted my comment again.
Do you delete comments?
No, I don't have enough time to go through and delete all these comments. So there is some auto moderation that YouTube does. They call what they filter them all into this is probably a bot or spam or it's hateful speech or whatever. But no, I have not been deleting Angela St. Michael's comments.
All right. So Angela, you're either wrong, you're either wrong or you're nuts. Okay. Oh. Either way, you're wrong. So either you're wrong and you're mentally ill, or you're wrong and you're just being stupid. So either way, you make the decision. But it's not censorship in terms of it being a violation of your First Amendment rights, because I am not the government. I am a private entity. I own the Chris Cuomo Project. I can do whatever I want to do with it. I can censor all the comments. I can allow no comments. I can only allow comments from men or women or white men or white women. I can do whatever I want because I take no government funds. I am not a public accommodation space. It is private, and that still matters, okay? Just because you want it a certain way, start your own podcast. I am not infringing on your First Amendment rights. You have none in this context.
I just went into the held for review section because they
and that's where she is?
No. But I found some other ones. This is from the Hunter Biden guilty verdict reaction. New US-ZM4ND wrote, the woke Dems orchestrated by the demonic Obama is biting in their hairy ass.
Whatever.
Ampersand.
I don't know if these are bots or they're people who aren't English as a first language. I don't know. But the real issue is the held for review. Now,
potentially inappropriate is how this.
Similar to what I just said. Look, YouTube is also, I know it's a public company, but it is a company and they get to make their own rules of how you get to use their platform. But it's not that simple as no shirt, no shoes, no service, is it? Because they really are kind of a public accommodation also. And I believe there should be regulation and there should be standards and they should not be allowed to censor things. But that is at odds with them being a company and having rights over the way their own service is used. And I think we need to do more thinking on it. I think we need to have more debate. And I think we need to have change. Because I think you got to err on the side of more ideas, not less. And I get how attractive it is to say, yeah, but you can't have all this misinformation and disinformation out there. But it gets really tricky really fast. The line between misinformation and information that you want people to miss. Oh, that's good.
I mean, YouTube quarantines this stuff. We can turn that off.
Hold on again.
But
Misinformation versus information that you just want people to miss. That's good.
that is good.
It's real good.
I just do want to point out that YouTube, we have auto, filtration turned on. I sound like I work for Brita, but we have this turned on the YouTube page. You don't want to see the bulk of these potentially inappropriate comments.
Why?
Because they're not helpful. Somebody without a username.
But that's not the measure. The measure is what I'm putting out, bringing out in people.
But YouTube, any comment section on the internet is usually not that useful. When people hide behind the keyboards, they can say anything. Somebody writing, "You're such trash." Like, that doesn't really add much to the dialogue. Or this is from your Caitlin Clark episode. You probably don't want to hear this. Chris, and they spelled your name without an H, "Get CC nuts out your mouth." Like, I don't think we need that comment. Like, what are we going to do? Upvote that? Like, you know what I mean? Like,
Well, look,
some of this stuff is just like,
But it
it's
reveals
trash.
something about the person. A lot of people are trash. And you
Yeah.
should know how much of them are trash. I'm okay with that. The more trash there is, the easier as it is for the treasure to rise. Oh, another one.
Wow,
The
man.
more trash there is, the easier it is for the treasure to rise. Not rise, that's not a good part for the metaphor. For the treasure to be seen. The more trash there is, the easier it is to recognize the treasure. So I'm in favor of more speech, not less. I don't censor, okay? Thank you for the calls, my friends. Keep them coming, and I will keep coming back to you. Thank you for subscribing and following. If you want it ad-free, I totally get it. Sign up at the Substack, $5 a month, easy peasy, and you get all of my long COVID know-how. My doctor, her expertise, her take on my bloods, the reason she's giving me the treatment protocols she is, how they go for me, what I'm doing with wellness, what I'm doing with food, all in one place, $5 a month. Want to ask me a question? Great. Want a little bit more of my time? Go to the Connect app, and you can get me right there. Want to watch my show? Of course you do. News Nation, 8 p and 11 p every weekday night. Let's get after it.